So welcome to testingtoolsonline.in, class 1 of object repository. So again, I'm Kiran here. So let's start what exactly object repository, how it works, and everything about object repository. Let's start. First of all, what is object repository? It's nothing. Object repository is nothing but it's a storage place of all the object properties and their values. Not all, like selected objects properties and their values. So first of all, it's a storage place. Up till now it's fine. So how to store, who is going to store that we'll see as the class progresses. So as if now it's a storage place of object properties and their values. Again, one more question. So what are these properties? What are these objects first of all? So let's go on to the objects. Let's be very clear about this. What are the objects and what are their properties? Clear? So first question, what are the objects? Let's have a look on this. Let's consider this is your AUT, application under test. This is the application what you are going to test. Now can you see there is a OK button which is highlighted here? It's a object. Agent name edit box, it's a object. A password box, it's a object. A flight picture image, it's a object. A cancel button, it's a object. So I mean to say that each and every individual part of your AUT is an object. Now every object has some set of properties. Every object has some set of properties. If you take an example of this OK button, it has some properties like height, text, width, and class, and lot of other properties. Just I'm taking some example as height. Yes, OK button has some height. It is located at a certain height, and button itself has some height. It has a text on it called OK. The width of it is around 50 or 60, something like that, and it's a class, like it's a button. It has some class. It's a defined object. Now see here, the height is 23, text is OK, width is 60, and class is button. So the height, text, width, class which is written in your blue color, it's nothing but the properties of an object. The OK button has the certain properties called height, text, width, and class, but every property will have certain value. Height is a property. What is the value of that height? 23. The OK button is 23 height. I mean to say the button height is 23. So what's the text written on that OK button? It's simple, it's OK. So something like this. The height, text, width, all these things we'll call it as a property, and every property has certain values. So your QTP or else your object repository is going to store this properties along with the values. Now if you take an example of this agent name box, that edit box, yes, it is also object and it has some properties. The height of it is 20, text upon it is agent name, and width is 119, and class is something edit box. So now the properties are same, but the values keeps on changing. Yes, like maybe depending on the object, the properties may change. Okay, so that's the other story. We'll see it as the class progresses. As if now the point what you need to remember is each and every individual part of your application is considered as some objects, and every object has certain properties, and these properties have some values. Okay, so this object properties and their values will be stored in object repository. Clear? So why? What is the use of storing the objects in the repository? Is that really needed? Yes. So whenever we store this information in the object repository, these object properties and value, only in that case, QTP can identify the objects and it can perform the operations on it. So I can say that this object repository is an interface between the script and AUT. Got it? So we'll make it much clear. We'll make it much clear. Mm. So what we do is, I'm going to consider, in my point of view, actually I'm going to consider this object repository as a human brain. So let me explain you. So why I am going to consider that, why I am considering this object repository as a human brain. Let me justify that first of all. Take a second and let me know what is this. Yes, it's a normal computer. So how you know that it's a computer? So because it has one monitor, CPU, mouse, keyboard and everything. Because the information of this computer is already stored in your brain. You know what exactly the computer is. So that's the reason why looking at picture you have recalled that information and you have said that it's a computer. Because the computer information already is there in your brain. What is this? It's a normal ceiling fan. So how you know that it's a ceiling fan? Because the ceiling fan's information is already pictured in your brain, already fixed in your brain. By looking at a ceiling fan, you'll recall that and you will know that it's a ceiling fan. If I show you a new object, if you haven't seen that in your lifetime, really you will not recognize it. Yes, because you don't know the properties of that particular object, so that's the reason you will not recognize it. Same in the case of QTP also. We have an object, but object property should be there and that property should be there in the object repository. Only in that case your QTP will recognize it. We'll see it with lot other examples as the class progresses. So here I am just trying to explain you what the object repository is, that's it. So working principle, how it works and all that story we'll see as the class progresses. Okay, so I will make it much clearer now. Let's assume that you are waiting for your friend somewhere on road or somewhere on park, somewhere you are waiting for your friend. So what happens, suddenly like there are two persons who are walking towards you. One among them is your friend. Your friend and X, two persons are walking towards you. By looking at a glance, you can identify like who is your friend and who is not. Why? How we are identify that the so-called the X person is your friend and other is not? Like because you have fixed, or else you have the information of your friend in your brain. I mean to say, height of your friend, weight, gender, color, so like this, hair, nationality, it's like everything. Your friend's objects properties has been stored in your brain. So whenever you look at your friend, you'll identify him. The X person, you have not stored any information regarding the X person. You know that he is a human being, that's it. He or she is a human being, you know that. But it's very difficult to understand them. I mean to say, it's very difficult to recognize them because you have no information regarding them in your brain. Clear? So if you have the information regarding them in your brain, only in that circumstances you can identify them. The same in our case. Same with the QTP. Same with your object repository. If you have the information of that particular object, only in that case QTP can recognize the objects. Clear? So we have a script, we have a AUT, means application under test. You have written some script to click on that OK button. You have written some script to click on that OK button. So how does QTP know that that is an OK button? This properties will be stored in object repository and it takes the information from the object repository and it's going to perform the operation on that button. So this we'll see as the class progresses. As if now I am trying to explain you what the object repository is. As the class progresses, I mean within 5 or 10 minutes we are going to see how to add the information into object repository, and from the object repository how does QTP pick the information and how does it clicks on the certain objects. Okay, so as if now we'll close this slide and we'll move on to the next topic.